I'm Hannah Minks. This is Usra Ghazi, and we're here to tell you about our friendship. Take it away, Usra.
Thanks, Hannah. It's 2011, and an interfaith evangelist and a DJ philosopher meet for the very first time at an Interfaith Leadership Institute as trainers, and we hit it off. In between training sessions, we do cartoon impressions and realize that we have the same brand of awkward humor. You couldn't find an odder couple of friends, in part because we come from two very different backgrounds.
I grew up in Canal Fulton, Ohio, a very small town. And if you all have a moment, I would encourage you to look up www.discovercanalfulton.com and marvel at how many different fonts have been packed into a singular web page. So yes, small town in Ohio, very conservative household. My whole dad's side of the family has been attending the same non-denominational Christian church ever since it was built. My mom's side of the family is so Catholic that they still attend Latin Mass. Ooh, yes. So we're a very tightly knit family with our shared Christianity as the centerpiece. I went to church with my grandpa every Wednesday night growing up, and while we were at church, my mom would stay back with my grandma to play cards. So one night we come back from church, my mom and grandma are finishing up a game, so I decide to play dress up in the meantime. I was super excited about the Easter holiday coming up, so I tried to fashion my best Jesus. I don't have the long hair for it at the time because my dad gave me this very awesome bowl haircut. Nonetheless, I put on that white robe and tied a blue towel like a sash across my body, march out to the card game. My non-denominational grandma loves it. My Catholic mom tells me I'm sacrilegious. Nevertheless, I convert to Catholicism years later, only to come to be inspired by Dorothy Day and her sense of radical hospitality. She opened her own personal home to people in need during the Great Depression, and I try to draw from that and channel her in moments of challenge, especially in interfaith work.
Unlike Hannah, I'm of Pakistani origin. I'm a naturalized US citizen and grew up in Skokie, Illinois, just blocks away from the Illinois Holocaust Museum. Skokie is an incredibly diverse city. It is home to a historically significant population of Holocaust survivors. So considering its religious diversity, at times it wasn't too difficult growing up as a Muslim kid in suburban Chicago. For example, my parents sent me and my sisters on Halloween to school dressed up as Indian princesses, when in fact we were just wearing our Pakistani clothes from the Eid holiday we just celebrated. Yeah. Eid is the celebration at the end of month of Ramadan, the month of fasting. And on fasting, I remember during school, our teachers would let us shoot hoops in the school gymnasium while we were fasting and the other kids were eating their meals at lunchtime in the cafeteria. I'd get all kinds of questions. I was asked why I don't shake hands with people of the opposite gender. I was asked about the significance of the different colors of hijabs that I wear. And at time, I was asked questions that were less friendly. I remember being asked why I wore a towel on my head, or why Islam oppresses women and girls, or why I didn't just go back to my country. It was during these years of high school that I really came into my Muslim identity, and part of the reason why that happened was because I was spending my weekends with interreligious peers as part of a program through Interfaith Youth Corps. I really came into my Muslimness after hearing about their interfaith heroes and learning about my own. In particular, I was inspired by the transformation that Malcolm X went through after he visited Mecca on the Hajj pilgrimage and came back to the United States advocating for the importance of working across diverse communities if we were to truly be effective in challenging racism and bigotry in the United States. It was Malcolm X's experience that really emboldened me to continue doing interfaith work in college and throughout my professional career. And I think it's this reverence that both Hannah and I have for our respective faith traditions and for our faith heroes, Dorothy Day and Malcolm X, that, in addition to our quirky sense of humor, made our friendship kind of inevitable. Despite all this, everything changed a few years later when we found ourselves at the Interfaith Leadership Institute in 2017. The week before that ILI happened to be the inauguration of our new president. And I live and work in DC and could see out of my office window the fireworks going off over the National Mall. And I love fireworks, so I really enjoyed that. But then on my walk home, surrounded by folks carrying American flags and wearing MAGA hats, I all of a sudden started to feel a sense of despair and of fear. And if I'm being totally honest, I even cried a little bit. I wondered if the folks in the red hats thought that my faith was inconsistent with my nation. I wondered if they thought I should be banned from my country because I'm a Muslim. And all of these feelings were compounded at the 2017 ILI because it was also the same day that the Muslim ban was issued. And to make it even more complicated, it was the same night that Hannah got up on this ILI stage and said,
I am Republican.
Yep. My jaw dropped. I was confused. I thought I'd misheard her. Was Hannah a supporter of the Muslim ban? Did she feel threatened by my faith?
Oof. That was a difficult moment for me because I was totally uncertain of how people would receive this new information about me. Part of me thought it shouldn't be a huge deal because people have had more conservative values for ages, so why should this be any different? But I knew that this moment was, in fact, distinct. The person I had always been privately had to show up to a different historical moment publicly, which, frankly, to be honest with you all, is what inspired me to share my political identity at the ILI, even during this fraught time at all. I was hoping to be a source of hope. If I, Hannah Minks, were a Republican, then perhaps not all Republicans were so bad. But instead of instilling hope, I think I stirred confusion. My colleagues later told me that they gasped at the revelation, and I was met with tons of questions over dinner that night.
Hannah, did you vote for Trump because you support him as a person or simply because you're a Republican?
Well, I don't think
And what do you make of his misogyny and his anti-Muslim bigotry?
Well, I definitely don't like it.
And where do you get your information? What cable news channels are you
I
watching?
try to watch a lot of different things.
Did you think twice about how your vote would impact my communities?
It felt like a cross between an interrogation and being examined in a petri dish. Which I kind of anticipated, though something still felt pretty strange about this moment. Because my pro-life values have always meant a great deal to me. The narrative of pulling up your own self by your bootstraps that's kind of characteristic of the American dream resonates deeply with my family history. And I've always held tradition in high regard. Though I hadn't changed all that much personally, it felt like my relationships with my colleagues, my friends, with Usra, seemed to change overnight.
But that change wasn't necessarily a bad thing. Now I find myself wanting to ask Hannah even more about who she is and what she believes. And believe it or not, our relationship and time together doesn't just revolve around politics and partisanship. In fact, on Hannah's last visit to see me in DC, I somehow convinced her to do the dance to Drake's In My Feelings. You know, the one that goes, Kiki, do you love me? Are you riding? That one, thank you. And unbeknownst to Hannah, I filmed it and then turned it into a bunch of GIFs, which she may not have known about until very recently.
I literally saw these GIFs for the first time 2 days ago.
It's true.
But so in addition to this awkwardly dynamic duo sort of relationship that Usra and I have with one another, there's much more to it than that. She's helped me deepen my own faith more than people, even within my own tradition. She's helped me resolve a fear of death and the afterlife that I've had ever since I was a kid. So she's a very big deal to me.
And I'm really grateful for my friendship with Hannah. And despite all of this, I still wish that she would agree with me on a lot of things. I wish that she would come to protest against the Muslim ban with me in front of the White House. But I know she'll never do it.
Usra's right. I probably won't do that with her. And that's something, to be honest with you all, that we still are working through and talking about all the time. But that does not mean that Usra's well-being is not always on my mind. When New Zealand happened, I made a point to text her and make sure that she was okay.
And when Hannah texts, it's not just a short, hey, are you okay type of text. She likes to text, let's say, comforting novels, which I appreciate and would read fully if I had the time. But in all seriousness, our diverging values don't take anything away from the meaningful relationship that we've been able to build. And this has really been an opportunity for us to redefine our friendship in new ways. As we head into the toxic rhetoric that comes along with the lead up to the 2020 presidential election, we will continue to be mired in polarizing language and in hate mongering. And though our country is currently experiencing a very grim moment, both of us choose to soldier on the only way we know how.
By stepping into the minefield that would otherwise threaten our relationship, and instead use it to maintain our relationship with honesty, no matter how difficult.